And I'd like to also thank you for giving me this chance to share some of my thoughts about the early education of academic research and its benefits. So basically, I want to express my thoughts from three different perspectives. The first is, I think I always encourage young people to do research at an early stage because I think having an early access to research gives you more choices in the future career. So usually the topic that's been assigned to young students, like an undergraduate students or high school students, is usually the easiest one that you can find in the lab, but at the same time, it covers the broadest topic. So, the depth of a topic and the breadth of a topic is usually mutually exclusive to each other. So they're staying at the two sides of the balance. They're delving down deep into a topic that often means that the application scope is narrow, and vice versa. So I basically always encourage young students to embark on different topics so that you can traverse through different areas and have a taste on your own, and that can open up your horizon for different career choices. But also the second point I want to say is academic research is not necessarily as hard as many people would have believed. So I always make this analogy. If you imagine a space representing the body of knowledge, for anyone who wants to start their research, you need to find an anchor point in this space and slowly spread out from the single point. So what I want to mean is what you need to do is to follow the recipe that is well developed by previous works initially. You need to find an anchor point, follow the recipe that is already well established, and see what kind of variables, what kind of degrees of freedom that you're able to identify in that recipe, and change that variable in different ways and see if the final output is getting closer to your target or to your goals. And that's how you do research. So it's very easy. But having said that, what's really hard about research is to know or to have an overview of this knowledge space, the body of knowledge. That's a really hard part, which takes a tremendous amount of time for you to train yourself, to get yourself know about what's going on in the whole research field. But if you can find an anchor point and start from that single point and spread out to do some research, that I think is it can be well handled by some young scientists like undergraduate students or high school students. So yeah, I think that's the second point I want to say, and that is to do research well as a young research, what you only need to do is to do some local optimization instead of a global optimization. So yeah, so I think that can be well handled by everybody. And I think that brings me to my third point. So because as a young scientist, you don't really have a global view of how the research looks like, what does the body of the knowledge look like? So it's very important for the young students to have some mentors to start the research, because only an experienced person can tell you where that well-established knowledge is and how you can find that anchor point and spread out your research. So for example, here in Berkeley, well, I'm right now a postdoc in Berkeley, but I'm moving on to Yale next year, and I graduated from MIT. So in these three institutions, we have a lot of outreach program for high school students, and there are state-sponsored scholarship for high school students to spend their summer in the research lab to simply experience what the research is like. And there are also lots of undergraduate student research opportunities in universities. So what I want to say is make sure you keep an eye on these opportunities and take full advantage of all the available programs where you can find that mentor that can teach you how to find an anchor point. And then you do your job to slowly spread it out. And that's how you initiate a research. So yeah, I think those are the 3 points I want to share. But all I want to say is research is not that hard. Just find a good topic and just do it. And yeah, and my best wishes to all the presenters here. And I really hope you have a wonderful time presenting your work in the next few hours or few days. All right, that's all I want to share. Thank you.